Let's head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
Yeah, it's Mike from Utah. Can we tap the brakes a little bit on the Joe Flacco love fest? You can pretty much guarantee his line's going to turn out to be 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 turnovers. And those 2 interceptions don't win you Super Bowls. And we're looking at a team right now that leads the league in giving the ball up. So I'd like to know what you think the solution might be.
As always, appreciate all of the voicemails. Quincy, that's a fair concern about Flacco. I will say, for his career, he throws an interception every 42 passes. In the playoffs, it's every 44 passes. And in the playoffs, he's thrown 25 touchdowns and 10 picks. Of those 10 picks, 6 of them were the first 2 years he made it, and he made it like 6 years after it. So he's gotten better. I think he's going to take a little bit more care of the football. I could be wrong. Running the football is a cure for everything.
Look, I think the caller here, though, is having a great miss of context. Like, hey, if this were Deshaun Watson throwing 2 turnovers and we think he's supposed to be the franchise quarterback and he's getting paid to be that, okay, we could talk about them interceptions, right? Like, we need to talk about that. That's serious. This Joe Flacco, he wasn't in the NFL in October. Like, it's bonus points at this point. And the fact that you can get 300 yards, 400 yards out your offense, if you have to eat a couple interceptions in order to do that, that's literally best case scenario for you. Like, I don't know, like, what's the better solution there? Do you want to put Kyle Trask in or dig up PJ Walker off the bench? Like, at some point, we got to just accept that it's not a starter in there. It's ultimately a backup. He's playing really well, but it's a backup. And I think talking about the interception, especially in like the last few games, it hasn't been that big of a problem, is kind of nitpicky in my opinion. Like, is somebody who was skeptical of the whole Joe Flacco thing to begin with, you're at the point to where he has greatly exceeded any expectations of him coming into this. So, you know, I think these are concerns that we would have if we thought Joe Flacco was going to be the franchise quarterback. But we just need Joe Flacco to hold it together for like 4 more weeks.
Yeah, the other thing is, and you kind of touched on it, they haven't been in the playoffs. You can't do the pick sixes. You can't give them, 30-yard fields with this defense. If you turn it over in your end, your half of the field, and make it a 60, 65-yard field, that's fine. Again, I'll say it again. I don't see a team driving 70 yards on this defense more than twice in a game. I just don't see it.
Yeah, and I think, again, one of the things I point to, like, he had that one weird pick six on that screenplay where he just didn't let it die for whatever reason.
Yep.
But outside of that, like, even the couple interceptions he threw, like, really the 2 interceptions he threw in, what was it, the Jacksonville game were kind of just of circumstance. No, the Texans game were just kind of circumstantial interceptions because you didn't have a kicker. And then he threw the 1 interception in the Jets game. Like, I really think if you're paying attention to the context of these interceptions the last few weeks, you would be much less concerned about it. And, you look at the raw number on the paper, it does look a little bit concerning. But again, 1, we're talking about being down to your 4th option at quarterback, and 2, that 4th option producing at a very high level that you did not expect. So if you have to take a trade-off, that's just worth it because, I mean, we're back to having real expectations for this team, which when Deshaun Watson went down, that was not something that we thought we would have.